Welcome to livzenastrology, the channel for updates and reflections, where we are grounded in the stars and elevated by consciousness. Thank you for tuning in. Wanted to reflect on the energies. Welcome to livzenastrology, the channel where we are grounded in the stars, elevated by consciousness. And just really wanted to reflect on the energy of this. We've got Mercury conjunct Mars. So Mercury today, again, October 27th, is at 8 degrees in Scorpio, right next to Mars at 10 degrees in Scorpio, and the sun is at 3 degrees in Scorpio. So we've got a nice little stellium going with a pretty tight orb. And as I'm looking at the chart right now, it's opposite Jupiter, which is at 11 degrees. And we've also got the moon in Aries right now, which is at 17 degrees, conjunct or right next to Eris, which is the goddess or Mars' sister, the goddess of discord. And we've got the North Node of the moon, which is also in Aries, which is what we've come to learn collectively as a planet. So that's just some of the language, some of the astrology speak of the configurations and the transits that are impacting this now moment. And wanting to be able to reflect on the energies as today is my solar return. So I am celebrating 50 cycles around the sun today, and having so many placements in Scorpio, really being able to delineate and feel in the energies as I'm feeling, not only as an individual, what I'm personally feeling, but also what I'm witnessing from collective energies, which livzenastrology's maxim is all is self. So anything that I'm reflecting or seeing outside of myself is also a reflection of what's happening inside. So this is such a pointed focus, especially since I have my Chiron, which is my wounded healer, also in Aries. This is my Chiron return. So really addressing the wounds of the child, addressing the wounds of creation, of being able to be creative, life force energy. So Aries is ruled by Mars, which is our action planet. It's also, where we are at war. Because if you look at the inverted of Mars, you take the M and you invert it, it becomes war, right? So the wars on this planet is because of the distortion of Mars. So how is this relevant to the energies of today, what I'm experiencing, especially with my solar return? Because anytime you have a solar return, meaning the sun is going to come and align where exactly you were when you were born, right? Because I actually heard a quote by Prince that said this, which I thought was really amazing. He said, "You only have one birthday. There's only one day that you're actually born, and the rest are just cycles." And so I really like that as far as, I've been born once, which is October 27th, 1973, but I've been cycling around the sun for 50 rotations. And I say it this way because language matters. Language is important. How we use our language, how we speak, how we transmit the energy is very, very crucial at this time, especially since Mercury is right next to Mars. Where we take action, Mars, on our thoughts, Mercury, and the words we use to speak our thoughts is very, very crucial and important right now because it emits an energy or a frequency or vibration. Think of verbs in language, right? A verb is an action. A verberation or a vibration is a movement. So every time we speak, we're creating movement in our environment. We're creating verbations or reverberations or verbs, actions, even with our words. So yes, thoughts become things, thoughts, Mercury. It takes action in our mind first. And then when we take the action of actually speaking it into existence, which is the verb, the action, the vibration, then we're taking action. We're doing Mars, right? And the fact that there's an axis point happening between Scorpio and Taurus, Taurus rules the throat, which is also, our voice box where these reverberations or verbs come from. And it's in opposition right now to Scorpio, which is really wanting to deep dive with the other, because Scorpio has many different meanings and many different associations too. If you look at the symbol of Scorpio, Scorpio has many symbols because of its delineation and its connection to transformation. So, on the lowest octave of Scorpio, from my understanding, you have the gray lizard. And then the next octave up from that would be the scorpion. Then the next octave of that would be the snake. Then the next octave from the snake would be the eagle. And then the next octave from the eagle would be the dragon, and then the phoenix. And so there's many different symbols associated with Scorpio and its different evolutionary aspects. And if you study evolutionary astrology, we're looking to see how where in Scorpio in our chart we have evolved, we have ascended, we have raised octaves, if you will, having an ascended point of view of our ability to transform and what exactly we're transforming into, and when these transformative energies happen during certain periods of our lives. So again, this is more of a channeled sort of talk on the energies because that's how it's organically just coming out as I'm deep diving as this channel Lives in Astrology seeks to explore the deeper meanings, the gnosis behind these planetary energies and how it applies again to your individuated life, but also what you're projecting out with the world, with the other, because that's also what Scorpio rules, right? The other. So, how are we projecting these energies internally and therefore seeing it externally out, manifesting into real form? Well, today with Aries, especially since it's so close to Chiron and the North Node, we can really be experiencing energy with the ego in its more gentle or positive traits, and also in its possible negative or antagonistic traits. Because in every good storyline, you need a protagonist and an antagonist. You need somebody who's like quote unquote the hero of the story, and then you need somebody who's the villain. And if you're going to be professing to be a hero of your own story, you're going to need a villain, right? So this is polarity, this is duality, this is what we have created in this realm to learn about self, to learn about contrast, in my own humble opinion. So the contrast right now I'm really seeing within myself is, and where I'm experiencing this energy is my need to create. So as a content creator, as an astrologer, as a health coach, somebody who is creating a life of wellness, of balance, of coherence, you know, projecting that out into the field and then seeing the response of maybe where that polarity is existing or showing its opposition energy. I'm really able to see uh, as I'm building groups and communities and starting these community groups and projects in relation to astrology and to health and wellness, um, what I'm perceiving as the ego, right? So, and power dynamics. So, where people are in their power, how people are expressing their power, people's need to be seen, to be validated, to be heard, as we are all stepping into expressing our gifts, to sharing our creations with the other, and then seeing people's response to our creations. How do we respond to others' creations, right? So there's actually what I've been able to witness, and I'm saying witness, not necessarily experience, because it's not triggering me. So this is going back to filtration system. If I'm witnessing something outside of myself and it triggers me, that means it's for me and there's something to be alchemized. So there's something in the field because there's a trigger. But if I'm able to hold witness and observe in another without being triggered, that means I'm just in the observer mode. So this is an invitation right now, especially with its opposition energy, to look at your triggers, your own individuated triggers. What's triggering you? That means it's for you to alchemize, use Scorpio. That's the pointer to tell you, okay, that's where the work is. That's where the wound, the injury, the Chiron and Aries is coming up to be seen, felt, looked at, and alchemized through the frequency of Scorpio, right, and Mars. But also, where am I just observing perhaps other people in their pain bodies or what that's triggering them, but it's not triggering me. So now I can just hold space or be in the observer mode while I'm witnessing this happen to the other. So this is a good point of focus to also delineate and discern, okay, what is mine? What is the other? We'll look at it based on your reaction or your chemical reaction. If you have a chemical reaction, something comes, think of like the image that I'm seeing right now is, say you're a scientist and you're in a lab and you're putting together these different chemicals. If there is a reaction when you put two or more chemicals together that are maybe not positive, they blow up in your face, then that is for you to look at to say, okay, you're maybe not using the right chemistry. You're not using the right thought form patterns, Mercury in Scorpio. You're not creating your desired results because of the thoughts you're thinking, because of the actions you're taking. And we usually take action based on the thoughts we're thinking, right? So this is a point of reflection as you're settling into these frequencies, as you're observing your own energy clearly right now, because we do have this full moon eclipse happening in Taurus, which is opposite Scorpio. It's really illuminating where these reactions are taking place in your life, what is for your benefit, and what is actually harming you. And this is the time to really use that discernment and to maybe use a different type of alchemy. So, if what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're projecting, what you're envisioning, what you are thinking is not serving you, is not bringing a desired reaction or result, and maybe actually be harming you, then this is the time to use alchemy, to use a different type of alchemy to have a different experience, to have a different connection to what it is you're projecting. So, again, with this full moon eclipse, everything is being illuminated because I see a full moon is like shining the light. And if anybody's ever been outside on a full moon, you can see that you can see everything more clearly in the dark. And the fact that this eclipse is happening, that the moon or the earth is right in between the moon and the sun. So the earth, which is our stability, and to me, earth rules Taurus as well, very similar to it, to a Taurus component. The earth is in between these 2 points, the sun and the moon. So we're seeing this full illumination. And because the sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Taurus. Taurus rules our values, rules our money, rules our body, our sensuality, our senses. Of course, Scorpio, the sun, is shining its light on alchemy, occult practices, ritual, power dynamics. It's ruled by Pluto and Mars, cool ruler. So, old money, other people's money, um, you know, people in power. So, where are you witnessing power dynamics within yourself and with the other? And where maybe are you experiencing these power dynamics? Are you witnessing power? Are you being able to be an observation of people as they are exert their power, as they wield their power, how they're wielding their power? Are you seeing more of an egoic form? Are you seeing the wounded child? Which archetype are you witnessing? And is it triggering you? If it's triggering you, it's for you to be looked at and to be alchemized. If it's not triggering you, then just hold witness, hold space for the other while they're working through their stuff, right? So this is a way to navigate these fields of energy as you're experiencing this illumination of what is being seen during this full moon eclipse, and also the stuff that was being hidden is also being able to be seen in a really big way because it's ecliptic. And because of the positioning of the planets and where we are in relation to these luminary forces that are inviting in a deep alchemy within all of us. And we have Scorpio somewhere in our chart, so we're not immune to these energies. Just because you may be a Sagittarius or you may be a Gemini, you're still going to be feeling the effects of these energies. So I would invite you to go in and check out where this is transiting. So where does that look like? So you want to go and see, where is Scorpio, which house or which house cusp is Scorpio at in your chart, because this is the point of the chart where this might be showing up for you on an individuated level. And then collectively, because right now the United States is going through its Pluto return, Pluto is rules the planet of Scorpio. So we're seeing very clearly power dynamics in the United States, especially with our relationship to our own citizens, and then the United States in relation to other countries, right? So, how are we going to show up for these wars, this inverted Mars that's being activated all over the world, and how are we going to respond, the United States as a collective, to this inverted action energy of Mars? Well, what I'm being shown in this now moment is to continue to do the inner work on myself. Anywhere that I am at war with myself, where am I, fighting my own uh, battles with creation, with wanting to create, and yet also, recognizing that there might be an inner saboteur energy that's showing up, an inner uh, warrior that wants to come and destroy rather than create. Where is that inverted within me? Does that exist in my DNA? Is that ancestral? Where is it showing up for? Is this past life? These are filtration systems these are questions you can ask. Where am I inverted in myself? What alchemy do I need to work with within myself to clear up all these warring patterns, the war within, to clear up the war without, right? So this is a very internal and very deep process, very individuated, but it will affect the collective if you do your work. So please, today, while the moon is in Aries, we're really feeling the need to take action, because this opposition, we might be at war with self or the other. Where is that showing up for you? What alchemy can you use? For me personally, because Taurus is involved, working with the earth frequency, grounding as much as I can. I actually have grounding mats that I sleep with, that I work with, especially when I'm working on content and using technology. I use these grounding mats to dispel some of the electromagnetic frequency coming from the devices, the technology around me. I also am drinking alkaline lemon water, blessing my water, thanking my water, singing to it, expressing gratitude every day, doing my transcendental meditation, doing yoga, moving my body, because my Kundalini right now, since I'm doing all this creation, is really rising up from the root chakra, coming up in like a toric field, coming in and out and ballooning out. And so, if there's any place that it's been stagnant, or there's any blockages within my body, if I haven't been moving properly, again, this is all alchemy through movement, through what I ingest, making sure I'm taking my Shilajit, which has a lot of trace minerals, fulvic acid, making sure I'm taking my Celtic sea salt, which again, it's about mineralization to the bones, to the cells, making sure all my systems are, have what it needs to run smoothly. Think of it like a vehicle, making sure, like, if our bodies are our vehicles, is the oil changed? Are the filters changed? Is your car clean? Is your body clean? Again, while Venus is in, right now, Venus is still in Virgo, which Venus is our desire, our love, what we're drawn to. And in Virgo, it's about purification. So we're still in that frequency of, using purification methods to alchemize these warring aspects of us, while we are working in this very intense and transformative energy of Scorpio, could really benefit. And of course, I use essential oils. So using essential oils every day, frankincense on the temples, frankincense breaks the blood-brain barrier, which goes in to the brain, which actually helps heal and repair the brain. So, and using EFT tapping. So if I'm having angry thoughts, repetitive thought forms that are bringing me dis-ease or uncomfortableness or anger, dispelling that using the tools of Taurus, right? Using the tools of the earth, these tools I can taste, touch, smell, uh, use on the physical vessel, movement, grounding, to really help me alchemize what is for me. If it's a trigger, to go and catch that reaction. And I was thinking, language again. We're talking about language is so important. Thinking about the word react, reaction. and creation. And they're actually the exact same spelling except for the word C. So when you move creation, move the letter C, if you remove that, then you have the word react or reaction. So what I was in meditation showing myself is that when I see clearly, when I'm present with the energy, that I'm in creation mode. If I am living in the past or living in the future and not present, then I'm in reaction mode. So the difference is to be able to see clearly what it is that I need to alchemize, and I can only do that through the full power of presence. So this is another alchemic tool that can be really utilized at this time is the power of presence, the power of the now, the power of being at 0 point energy, which is total presence, present with whatever it is that may be coming up for you, that you may be witnessing in yourself or the other. Be very present with the energy. And we just came out of Libra season. So maybe being able to reflect on where you're still judging yourself, because Libra is the judge, it's the balancer, where you have been out of balance with judgment within your own mechanisms. Have you been your own inner critic and judge? Because sometimes with Venus and Virgo can be very nitpicky and very analytical and very, this is not good enough. This is not, pretty enough, that you're not doing this well enough. Can you refrain from that judgment voice and use maybe a different alchemy? Just again, get into observer, say, okay, what do I need to move through? And how can I show more compassion and love for self, knowing that this is a journey, this is a process, and I'm not always going to have the right answers, but I'm going to do my best. And this is where, tools like the Four Agreement is really coming in. Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, such a great tool of alchemy to keep these four principles in mind while we're doing the inner work to clear up the wars within, by always doing our best, by never making assumptions, by speaking clearly and concisely, and by um, oh, what's the fourth one? I guess that's the one I need to work on. Oh, never making assumptions. So yeah, these are just, again, tools, ideas, thought forms to work with as you're working through this very potent uh, full moon eclipse energy in Taurus, with today the moon being in Aries, conjuncting Chiron, which is, the wounds that we all may be experiencing individuated, but then what we're projecting out onto the other because we're still learning to alchemize these wounds and heal ourselves. So just taking a deep breath, also using the alchemy of breath to help navigate these frequencies as they're coming up. So these are just points of reflection, ways to navigate the energy. Again, check out livzenastrology, all the media platforms. And if you found value in anything that's being spoken about, please like and share, or just subscribe to the channel. That really helps out the channel and the algorithms. It's a way to give back, and it's a way to do it freely, but also just to show appreciation of the energy exchange, as this channel is really launching, and its intention really is to help humanity learn more about themselves by understanding that we are all the one, that all is self. And the more work we do on ourselves, the more knowledge, the more gnosis that we ignite within, the more we're going to see that reflected onto our planet. And that's what's going to help heal and bring more peace and balance and coherence and love to our world by doing that for ourselves first. So thank you for connecting to the channel. Thank you for listening. Much love to you guys. And yeah, go do your alchemy. It's intense, but it's worth it. It's worth the work. And we need you. We need you to do the work right now. All right. Thanks for listening. Much love.